Okay. So, as I mentioned, part of what we do is the arsenal of tools, right? To be an efficient real estate entrepreneur, we need our tools, right? If it's the MLS, if it is your car forms, if it's your Supra, right? If it's your website, to be an efficient real estate professional, you need the tools in order for you to really succeed, right? Because without the proper tools, you cannot do proper work, right? Someone calls you, says, I'm ready to submit an offer, but you don't have access to your zip forms, then again, it defeats the purpose, right? Or they happen to see a property uh, that they want to see if it's still available, but you don't have access to the MLS. So it kind of weighs out the situation and how you navigate. So we're just going to go through a lot of the core benefits that we have through the California Association of Realtors. And, the reason I'm having this conversation is because I get a lot of questions around it, right? I wouldn't be having a topic or a class on this if I didn't see this as a urgency, just so that way you have kind of an understanding. And the beautiful thing is that this is going to be recorded, uploaded into our YouTube channel. And if at any given time you want to look into, okay, what are the basic fundamentals of utilizing our car website, right? Well, you can always go into the video YouTube and listen to the recording. So, again, for the people that do not know who I am, my name is Simon Cazares. I am team leader for the South Bay office. I'm also the broker of record and the broker of record for the Long Beach Coastal office and also the broker for the Valley offices as well. Just kind of a backstory, been in real estate now close to 30 years. I started my real estate career back in the late 90s, 96, I believe, 96, 97 is when I obtained my sales license. And then within several years right after, obtained my broker's license and been doing this ever since. I have a passion for real estate contracts. One is I just love the ins and outs of negotiations. And when you know the ins and outs of the contract, it makes you more efficient and it makes you look more professional, but more so, you can navigate the conversations when there is a dispute. If there is a situation that occurs where there's a disagreement. As a matter of fact, one of our agents is involved with a dispute right now, and we're dealing with a very large hedge fund company, Witchwood. They want to meet with me, and this is like the director, upper management. For some reason, they want to personally meet with me to kind of go over the situation, and they feel that meeting in person will definitely, maybe help navigate and hopefully make a deal work. And I love it, because that's where I really thrive is when I see you face to face, there's no hiding, right? And the beautiful thing about real estate is we all want all of our transactions to go as smooth as possible, right? Yes or yes. And, for the most part, we usually navigate that where we do close the deal smoothly and there's no issues 30 days from now. Deal's done. Congratulations. Passing the keys and wishing your sellers, a farewell, right? With the hope that maybe you can buy their up like if they're moving, here in the States. So but when you do have a circumstance or a situation, well, that's where you have to roll up your sleeves, right? And the beautiful thing is you don't have to do this alone. I know Salvador, who's in class here, he's very, very diligent. Even though Salvador has been in the industry for a very long time, he still comes and gets advice, right? And that's just so that way he has that peace of mind and just that reinsurance. Hey, you know what? I just want to double check. This is the reason I'm bringing it to your attention. And a lot of the agents here and a lot of the agents on the call also are very proactive in reaching out to leadership to help navigate a situation because A lot of us have that experience. We've probably seen a particular similar scenario, and we have a little bit of knowledge in how we can help you get the deal done, right? The purpose is to push the deal to the finish line, right? That's the ultimate goal. Because when a deal falls apart, right, no one gets paid. The buyer doesn't buy the property, the seller doesn't sell the property, we don't get paid, escrow doesn't get paid, title, and that's not what we got into, right? We're in the industry to close deals and ultimately get paid a commission for services renders. With that, today's topic is really just deep dive into our zip forms, right? Which is Wolf technology, right? And the essence is there's so much information here that it can be a little overwhelming, and I get that. But here's also the uh, uh, stickiness, I guess is the word that I'll use, is that if you're not plugged in on a regular basis, then yes, it's going to be kind of foreign, right? It's going to feel a little overwhelming. It's going to feel like it just, I don't understand. But sometimes, again, just go full force and just dive into it, play with it, utilize all of the videos that they also have as part of the resources to get you to get a better understanding and how all of the documents work. All right, without further ado, let's go ahead and dive in. So obviously, the first thing is you go to car.org, right? CAR.org is the site that'll lead you to this site right here. You got to log into your account. And then once you log into your account, it's going to take you to this platform, right? Well, with the California Association of Realtors, and what I love is if you are a member, right? Because the only way you're going to be able to get this is as a member, because I get this quite often. Simon, I don't have access to it. How do I get access? Well, you have to become a member of the association in order for you to get it. If you're not a member and you're a referral agent, unfortunately, you're not going to have the necessary tools, right? That's the reason you're a referral agent. You're referring it to another active agent, right? So this will take you to the actual site here where it has a lot of information. It already populates all of the benefits that a member has by clicking here. It'll take you to all kinds of sorts of great stuff that you can utilize, right? And I'm going to just kind of show you as an example what that looks like, right? So that way you get a base of all of the stuff, yeah, because I get this quite often. Simon, the boards are so expensive, right? And it's like you're paying 1,000 plus in board dues, right? And I get it, but that's just part of doing business, right? Now there is options as well, right? And those options is not all associations are priced the same, right? So there's variable associations that charge a little bit more, a little bit less, and there's also payment plans, right? I know of a couple boards that actually do monthly. Okay, you pay a small amount and then you pay monthly. You get also other boards that do quarterly, or you can pay the entire amount. So it depends on the circumstance and the situation you're currently in. But this is what you need in order for you to run a really efficient business, right? So just to, not that I'm going to touch on this, but it just gives you a guide of what the California Association really is. Currently, there's probably approximately 185,000 California realtors, 150 member benefits. The California Association of Realtors has been for approximately 120 years of commitment to the members, and the CEO, presidents, and treasurer, and all that fun stuff. But I want to go into a lot of the situations that we're involved in, right? The outreaches, the influencers, the advocates, the impacts, the fair housing, the environments, the business resources that we as real estate agents have as part of our member services, right? So it gives us a core understanding that we're just not alone, right? We have sectors where we can now reach and ultimately connect with people to give us guidance and support, right? Realtors brand, broker relations, the list goes on and on and on and on. But again, not a lot of agents realize and understand that it's not just having your MLS, it's not just having your zip forms. There's a lot that the California Association of Realtors really fights hard for us, right? Every year you have leaders that go to Sacramento, right? And in Sacramento, they're fighting for rights to protect our careers, right? So we have members that go out there to provide the necessary support and information to bring back to us as real estate professionals and the elements to really educate us of what's happening in the state of California, right? Because what happens to California, it impacts the consumer, but it also impacts us as real estate professionals, right? Because imagine if real estate agents were no longer needed, you know? That's a big pill to swallow, right? But there's a lot of organizations that want real estate agents to not be part of this anymore, right? So this is the purpose and the reason we have people that go up to Sacramento to fight for our rights and to continue the legacy of who we are as real estate professionals and realtors. Um, so just wanted to kind of give you the element of what you have as part of it. One of the biggest resources that I do is our legal tools, right? Because a lot of the stuff that I deal with involves litigations, mediations, arbitrations, lawsuits, complaints that come in on not on a regular basis, but they do come in. We're a big uniform, we're a big organization, and with that comes issues, right? We cannot please everyone, right? We can do our very best. We can handle everything in a professional demeanor, and you may still be in a situation that you're involved in a potential litigation, right? So the essence is you got to know how to protect yourself. And the most way to protect yourself is what? Being honest.
And disclosing,
Uh,
disclose.
yeah, being honest, disclose. But more so, it's doing things out of integrity. Never take shortcuts, right? Because as easy as people want to make the fast buck, right? And there's a lot of real estate agents that do, it's a matter of time. It's a matter of time where you're going to get yourself in a compromised situation. And you know that a lot of real estate companies on their onboarding paperwork stipulates that if you do anything fraudulent or anything that may jeopardize the consumer, your errors and omissions insurance may not protect you. Okay? Not a lot of people know that. So if agents are doing bad things and now that gets brought up, be ready to write big checks, right? So in essence is always do the right thing, never take shortcuts, always advise if something just doesn't feel right, if it's going left field, bring it to our attention. Our number one priority is to protect the agents and help navigate that to make it a win-win, right? And for the most part, we are able to do so, right? But there's times that it's just out of our hands and out of our control. Don't wait till the last minute, right? If it smells funny, if it's just like, I'm getting that gut feeling, then maybe it's time to reach out to us, right? So I just wanted to be proactive in our approach and how we see real estate because real estate is such a beautiful career, right? I've been privileged to do this almost 30 years, and God bless that it's been great. But also be cautious and be mindful that this is a profession. Act like a professional, right? And once you do right, then you're protected. When you do wrong, you're not protected. So again, I'm not pointing fingers here. I'm just being truthful in that it doesn't matter what type of business anyone can ultimately be in a very difficult situation, right? As a lawsuit. So Again, the beautiful thing is we have our legal teams. We have legal car legal as well, and there's immense of different topics and information for us to be more in tune and updated to what's happening, right? And more so with the zip forms, right? They're consistently updating those forms twice a year. Okay, it happens in June and it happens in December, right? So in essence, I just want to make sure that you know that you have the most current information. Transactions, contract software forms, legal assistance, financial and lending. So just kind of a book of all of the cool things that you have as part of it. One of the cool things that I enjoy and like is really these resources to really enhance your knowledge and really know how to speak the lingo of real estate, right? There's a sector called forms tutorial, right? Which it gives you kind of an advanced training tool that allows you to, okay, if I represent the seller, what are the disclosures and documents that I need, right? It's a very intuitive program that allows you to just kind of get a better understanding. I'll show you how that works in order for you to, just really educate yourself, right? Um, so again, some of the cool things, if you don't have this one too, this is also a free members platform, which is for keeping track of mileage, expenses, tax deductibles in real time. It's an app that you can download and use this, right? And it gives you reports on a monthly basis, and then that you now send over to your CPA, your accountant. Again, if you're not doing high value business, right? But eventually it might be an additional tool that you'll want to use. So in a nutshell, I'm not going to go all into this because there's 36 different images, but I just wanted to share that with you. Now, when I when I go into our platform, I usually go where it says transaction center. Then I go to realtor secure transaction. Okay. And you also have all of this here. So when you click here, it provides another window that populates, which is your transactions, your business tools, your risk management, and your help sector, right? You go to learn and thrive. It also has education, meetings and events, marketing tools, and knowledge center. When you go to industry 360, it goes into market data. It goes into MLS professional standards. It goes into the political advocacy of the state of California. And all you do is click, and there's a lot of resources. One of the things that I wanted to share with you today is because I think when you get a raw feel for it, then you'll understand to always do the right thing. There's a sector here on the Professional Standards Code of Ethics Violators. Okay. When you click on that, it takes you to this sector where it says Code of Ethics, right? Now, all of us know what Code of Ethics is, right? If I was to tell you what is the first Code of Ethics, everyone should know, right? If I say what is Code of Ethics number 5, right? All of us should know, right? Well, the essence is it is a long list of stuff that no one knows it verbatim, right? We can look at them, but there's just a lot of stuff that we are obligated to do in our industry, right? So, but what I like about this is you do not want to be on this list. This is the list that you just don't want your face and information to be on. Why? Because these are individuals that did something wrong. Now, it only takes someone to file a complaint, and if the association finds you guilty, then they'll put you on a probation. Okay, this is what I call a mug shot, right? If you ever get arrested, you go to the police station, they process you, they do your fingerprints, and they take a mug shot. Well, guess what? The California Association of Realtors does kind of the same thing. And it's the problem with this, it's not a good thing. Because one is they're going to know who you are by the photo. Two, it goes into the actual complaint and why they became violators. Okay. Now, this is November 2025, right? So this is updated, I believe every quarter, but I can be wrong. It might be updated every month. But here it is, folks. Look, this is something that the consumer will not see. Okay, so on that, right? The consumer doesn't see that you were involved in an ethics complaint. But members of the association who are part of California Association do have this information. Now, any really professional real estate agent, when they go on a listing appointment, right? And they're competing with other real estate agents, what's to say that that agent that is trying to get a listing, especially if on the high end, says, well, what other agents are you interviewing? And the consumer or the seller says, well, I'm interviewing a guy by the name of Clinton Bausner. Okay. And you do a little bit of research and find out that a Clinton Bausner of the Inland Valley Association is on here, right? What's to say to that potential seller, hey, by the way, did you know that this individual that you interviewed or wanting to possibly list your home, it was found guilty of a violation of Article 15? And fully transparent, guys, it's right here, right in our face, right? Because we can see, and it says the following. That he was found in violation of Article 15 of the Code of Ethics. As a result of this violation, a letter of warning was placed in his file for 3 years. He was fined $100 and he was required to complete the Code of Ethics education. Bausner violated Article 15, which prohibits realtors from knowingly or recklessly making false or misleading statements about other real estate professionals, their business or their business practice. The hearing panel found that he sent a text message to a containing disparate and unprofessional remarks regarding another real estate professional's business practice. The panel determined that the message constituted a false, reckless, and improper statement about the other realtor. Okay. Now, based on what I just told you right now, guys, if I was to provide this information to a potential seller, am I being reckless? Am I saying something that is not true? No, right? No, because it's in black and white. So I'm not doing any false statements. I'm only providing factual information of what I found through our association. So there's no way that I can get myself in a situation when it's factual information, right? Because it's here. So this Clinton guy can come back and say, well, hey, you know what? I heard that this guy named Simon is bad mouthing me, saying negative things of me. I'm not saying any, I don't even know the guy. But I'm telling you from personal experience that I see a lot of people, not that they go to the site quite often, and you never say anything negative of any professional, right? One, you never burn bridges, but also you want to educate the client that, what type of person you may be looking to hire. Okay. And this is just one example. Let's go to another one just so you get an idea. Okay. She looks like she's upset. Wow. she looks upset, right? She's not a happy camper. This is funny. All right. Well, let's see with Roya, I think is how you pronounce it. She's also part of the Inland Valley, right? Was found in violation of Article 111 and 12 of the Code of Ethics. As a result of this violation, a letter of warning was placed in her file for 3 years. She was fined $500. She was required to complete the California Online Ethics class. She was violating Article 1 by failing to provide honest and accurate information regarding a transaction. The panel found that she participated in a representation the property as a standard sale despite its being subject to probate, thereby failing to protect the interests of the parties and to treat them honestly. She was also in violation of Article 11. Due to lack of professional competence and due diligence, the panel concluded that she failed to verify essential probate and ownership information. Before proceeding, which is a fundamental responsibility in handling such transaction, she was in violation of Article 12 by failing to present a true picture in advertising a real estate communications. The listing and related representation incorrectly described the property as a standard sale, misleading other realtors and the public to the property's true status. Okay. Why am I bringing this up to you? Because it only takes someone to file a complaint against you. Okay. And if they find you guilty of that, then you're going to have a mugshot. Then they're going to blast all this information, right? I'll get one more and I'll try to scroll, see if we find someone that maybe you know here locally. I just hope it's not Simon.
I've been reading the brokers on here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So let's see. Here's one in Los Angeles. So I don't even know how to pronounce his name. So Andrea. He was found in violation of Article 1 and 2 and 11 of the Code of Ethics. 3 years fine, and he was fined $5,000. He was required to complete an extensive property management education, and the matter was referred to the California Department of Real Estate for public trust violation. He was in violation of Article 1, which requires a realtor to protect and promote the interests of their clients while treating all parties honestly. The panel found that he failed to manage a property with due regards for tenant safety and health. He did not respond in a timely manner to safety concerns, failure to communicate adequately with the tenant, and neglected to address security issues involving unhoused individuals on the property. The panel further found that he was collecting rent and managing multiple properties without the proper broker supervision, placing tenants' welfare at risk. Okay, and that also violated Article 2 by misrepresentation in his role. So again, it goes into the situation again, do the right thing. And guess what? It goes on and on and on and on and on. Okay. So be careful. You don't want to be on this list. Okay. So that is the Code of Ethics violators. All right. So now let's go into the bread and butter in our member services, right? When you go to the secure transaction, ladies and gentlemen, you have what's called the members benefit, right? So some of the resources that you have here is obviously your zip forms, lone wolf transaction. You have Hurdle, you have realtors, secure transaction. Then you have all of these other extra benefits that you have, plus including other transactions. Because I get this quite often. Simon, I hear this rent spree, but I don't know how to navigate it. Well, it's right here as part of your member services, right? And then the other stuff that you also have as part of your membership with CAR. So let's go dive deep into your transaction, right? It's going to validate your membership. And then you go into continue. It's going to open a new window. And it's going to take you to the main page, right? Now, the main page, give it a little bit of time, is your hub or your resource. Okay, why did it do this? I apologize. It's probably connecting me to the other one, which I know they did some major changes. And let me probably log off of this. Maybe that's the reason. Let's continue. It should be taking us to our zip forms. Yeah, it's taking me again to that other function. So let's see, sign off. Let's see if this works. Yeah, that's the problem with this, and now kind of coincides because I have two different platforms, and now also includes for us as leadership the ability to pull stats and all that, and now it's kind of integrated. But I don't know why it opens up that instead of my actual zip form. So let me try to see if I can go in this direction here. So there's other ways to do so. But here's all of the stuff that you also get as part of your package deal. Come on. It's going back again. Yeah, this is so bizarre. So I don't know if any of you are experiencing this situation where it takes you to this different
Sometimes.
yeah, right. So let me see here.
You may have to log off and back on. It's happened to me
Yeah.
several times.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, this is probably the best training is real life situations that can happen, right? So let's try this one more time and see if it cures the situation. So we'll log in, go to our transactions, go into our zip forms, validate. And if we continue having this issue, then I'll show you some other stuff that you'll have as part of your platform here. No, it's going to the same thing again. So I know it's something that I know that the California Association of Realtors is looking into fixing because it happens and it shouldn't be doing that. And that's okay. Look, we're going to do something a little different. What I like to do is when I'm doing any type of classes, also as part of your member tools, is the risk management. This is, again, kind of the heartbeat, in my opinion, of what real estate agents should be looking into when it comes to navigating potential circumstances. What I like is I usually go to where it says the legal quick guide. I click on that, and that's going to provide me with the list of all of the information that we have within our California Association of Realtors. So in essence, here is like there's a bunch of different topics that agents can now download into a PDF and now do a little bit of research, right? One of them is that, are you aware that starting this year, a refrigerator requirement for rentals? Okay.
Mhm.
So what I like about this is it gives you concise current legal situations that are occurring to real estate professionals. And here it gives you kind of a base and a better understanding. what I typically do, and I'm going to give you kind of a quick, because I don't like to read a lot of this information. All I do is I copy, and then I go to ChatGPT, and then I ask ChatGPT to give me a summary, kind of a breakdown, and how I can educate the consumer how to explain this new rule. Okay, so when you use ChatGPT, then it gives you an essence of an understanding on how to navigate this. And now I'm having issues with ChatGPT. Okay, so let's go here. Then what I'll do is I'll give it a prompt, right? So I'll copy and paste the information, and then I'll ask it, to provide me with kind of an understanding of what this new document is, right? So how do I explain it to the consumer of this new law here in the state of California regarding adding a refrigerator as part of the process, right? Once it uploads that information, then I'll ask it to give me a summary, right? Let's see here. I don't know if the internet is giving me a little bit of heartache here. You got to love technology, right? Okay, then let's see here. Okay, let's remove this. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, look at me, just my luck today, right? I'm lecturing on some of the stuff and it's not even working. Well, the essence is, look, typically most of the stuff is on your phone, and once I get this information, now when it comes to either leasing a property or renting a property, right? You're either the lease listing agent, or if you're the tenant, now you know how to navigate these conversations and really understand the elements of what we're trying to accomplish, right? Because the essence is about this new refrigerator requirement. It goes into that as of January 1st, 2026, new requirements that are needed for rental properties is that the consumer, meaning the tenants, are able to now have not just a refrigerator, but a stove that is maintained in good working order and capable of safely generating heat for cooking purposes. A refrigerator that is maintained in good working order and capable of safely storing food as part of it as well. What if the tenant has their own refrigerator, right? It goes into kind of a Q&A as well. You want to educate yourself, right? Now, a lot of this stuff, you can always reach out to us. And because we study this on a regular basis, I can tell you based on what I know, this is what it needs to happen, right? You have to provide a refrigerator and a working stove as well. Now, what if the question is, well, what if they bring their own, which is perfectly fine. The tenant can also mutually agree to have the tenant with their own refrigerator. And the essence is the minute that the tenant says that, we're gonna remove it because it's not working, and they're asking the housing provider, okay, they're asking the housing provider to replace it. The housing provider cannot come back and say, well, no, you told me that you have you have your own refrigerator, so therefore you're responsible. So the question here is, no, it doesn't work that way. Okay, you still have to provide all of the rules and regulations regarding the refrigerator as part of the process. So therefore, the housing provider would be responsible to cover the cost of having a refrigerator or even a stove based on this information. Does the rule apply to vacation rentals, right? We typically don't get involved in that, but I just wanted to kind of give you an idea what that looks like, right? Now let's go to another part of the risk management, right? So the quick guide, which I explained, we also have what I like is the legal launchpad. When you click on the launchpad, this now provides you is different topics of different situations that may occur. You have advertisement, you have contracts, you have property management, you have licensed DRE issues, probate and trust, code of ethics, broker compliance, commissions and referrals, disclosures. So you're curious as like, you know what? I want to know a little bit about this topic of disclosures. You click on that, and it now provides you with some of the basic stuff. Top 3 conversational sales disclosure checklist, transfer disclosure statements, agency disclosures and confirmation, and some of the basic informations about Avid, death to disclose. And when you click on that, now it actually provides you with the quick guide is, okay, when do we have to disclose a death on the property, right? So here a seller is required to disclose a lot of information when it comes to selling their home, especially when they disclose what we call material fact, right? And all of us should have that as part of your language when it comes to material fact. Okay, what is considered material fact? Anything that may jeopardize the desirability of a home, meaning that if you are aware that there is a issue with the roof, that's a material fact. If you know that there's issues with the plumbing, that is considered a material fact. If you know that there's any issues whatsoever regarding the property, you need to divulge and disclose that as part of the material fact. Now, Simon, I'm afraid to divulge this because it's going to kill the deal. Then I say is let's give it the pros and cons. Would you rather lose the deal or get into a lawsuit? Your choice, right? Because I rather lose the deal because the buyer was not going to go forward because this is a severe situation. Thank goodness we knew about it. We divulged and disclosed it, and the buyer decided to back out, and that's okay. Maybe it wasn't for this particular buyer, but it may be for another buyer. Then instead of you look at it from an angle that I need this money, I need to close this. We were just about to close next week. I cannot stop, but then you just continue with it, knowing that you know something about the property and you fail to disclose. Who is the biggest, what's the word I want to use? The biggest contributor that will probably say something to the new buyers about something that they know.
Neighbors.
No. Yep. Thank you. Your neighbors. Yeah. The neighbors are going to be the ones that are going to tell you probably the history of this property. Hey, did you know that someone passed away a year ago? Hey, did you know that the past owner buried pets in the backyard, and there's probably like 10 different pets out there that were buried underneath or in the backyard. And the new buyer says, I don't remember seeing or hearing or any information provided about that happening, like a pet cemetery, right? And now they go back to all of their documentations. They look at the TDS SPQ and they don't see anything. And maybe they're very superstitious, right? That can happen. Guess what's going to happen? Now it's going to open up a can of worms, and now they're going to seek legal advice. And when they seek legal advice, what do attorneys want to do? They want to sue everyone because of a non-disclosed situation. And if they find out that you knew about it and you fail to let the seller know that that's a material fact and you didn't say anything, guess what? You're going to be entangled in that potential litigation. You don't want to be there. Okay. So disclose, 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 as we heard earlier, right? But here's kind of a quick guide that gives you kind of an understanding in a sense of direction and how to navigate a lot of this stuff. Look, you got to be resourceful. You got to be knowledgeable. I'm not saying you have to know everything by textbook, right? Because if you know the real estate law book, I mean, it's this thick. There's no way in heck you're going to know every part of it. But a lot of it is really common sense. And a lot of it is your understanding that you are the middle person getting the information from the person that actually lived in the property. So when you're now sitting and conversing as part of the disclosure parameter, your job is to ask a lot of questions. Your job is to be a detective trying to solve the problem. Well, what do you mean by that, Simon? What do you mean that I have to be a detective? Very simple. What I mean by that is this. The more questions you ask, the more information is going to come out. Maybe the homeowner has lived there for 45 years and forgot that 42 years ago something happened that may now jeopardize because they've lived there, they were okay with it, but the new buyer may not be okay with it. And that stirs a memory in their memory bank saying, gosh, you know what? That reminded me. Do you think I should disclose it? Okay. What do you think my answer is? I would definitely. Yeah. Everything that can be a potential concern or issue, you want to disclose. Well, Simon, this is going to kill the deal. I said, yeah, it may kill the deal, but I'd rather play it safe that you and I are not entangled in a lawsuit. Because are you prepared to write a check if we now go into a litigation because we knew and we didn't say anything and now comes back to haunt us? I don't want to be in that situation. Okay. And, I get this a lot with real estate agents as well. I don't want to go in that direction. Or let's say that the seller says, I don't want to disclose that. And I won't disclose that. Okay. Then what should you do? Think about that for a minute. If they know that someone had passed away in the property, and maybe it was a violent death in the property, and it happened within 3 years, and they're telling you, hey, Salvador, you're not going to disclose that. I need to sell this property, and that's a stagnant on the property that I don't want people to know. So we're just going to brush it under the carpet. I don't want you to say anything. We're not going to put it anywhere in any documentation, but I want you to still help us out. Will you do it? Why? Yeah, because we're held to a higher standard, right? And we're not in a position where we want to write checks for something that we should be responsible to do. That's simple. So in essence, why I'm showing you what I'm showing you is because there's a lot of information here to really educate yourself. Now, you got to be proactive in this engagement. You have to be in and getting yourself a sense of understanding, right? Is the do's and don'ts, right? And it's at the end of the day, it's just common sense. Common sense at the end of the day, guys, right? If it's something that doesn't resonate well in your stomach, it's probably something that you need to bring to our attention, right? At the end of the day. So I hope that kind of helps some of the things that you have the ability to do. So what other things can you do? Okay. If that was said to me, so Salvador, tell me that question. Simon, I want you to list the property, but I don't want you to disclose that there was a death on the property.
Simon, I want to use the property that I want to disclose someone died in the property.
I understand that, and I get it. It may definitely provide us with maybe a little longer time to sell your property. We may not get a full asking because of the situation that happened, we may get lowball offers, but we still have to as part of our responsibility. You're going to say, no, 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 I don't want to. Well, then I might just not be the right agent for this. I'm not going to jeopardize my license, nor do I want to write a check. And more so, I don't want to get my office involved in the litigation because it's not that they're going to sue me, they're going to sue my company too. And now I'm involved where I have to put a claim for errors and omissions insurance. I just cannot take that chance, right? Do you remember that old school commercial? It was the insurance. And the guy is walking. And then here comes the driver on a Corvette or a Ferrari, pulls up to the guy, and the driver's an attractive female, and says to the guy, "Hey, you need a ride?" And the first thing he says, he looks at her, she's attractive, and says to her, "Do you have insurance?" And she says, "I don't have insurance, then I can't take that ride." I don't know if you ever saw that old school. Yeah, I think it was like a general. I don't remember, but that was like an old one. Bottom line, guys, look, it can happen, right? So I don't want you to be in a position of compromise where one, you become a violator because you did something wrong, right? And more so, all of us want to have a very long career in real estate, right? And there's going to be bumps, there's going to be bruises down the line, but always do the right thing, right? In essence, I would probably say, and I take it back, I'll probably say no to the listing. And I'm going to say, I appreciate the time, but I just cannot afford to jeopardize my real estate license. So therefore, I'm going to have to decline the listing. Yes, sir.
Yes, it happened after 3 years.
Okay, so if it happened, the question here is, what if the property had a death, but the death happened after 3 years? So
You don't have to unless they specifically ask you.
yeah, okay. So what it is, thank you. I already have it up here, but thank you very much. So if you get a listing and the seller says, "Hey, part of the SPQ TDS is, hey, has there been a death in the property in the last 3 years?" And they said, "Well, yes and no." Okay, well, tell me more, Mr. Seller. Well, there was a death, natural causes, but it was more than 3 years. Okay, and you have verifiable that it has been 3 years. From the time the death to the time I'm listing this property, it has to be exactly 3 or more years. Oh yeah, my husband passed away, and this was 4 years ago. Okay, which is fine. Then we don't have to disclose a death on the property. But I also understand that if I get a direct question, meaning if they tell me, "Hey, on an open house, hey, did anyone pass away on the property?" And you know that the husband had passed away 4 years ago, do you disclose that no death on the property because you're going based on the 3 year restriction, or do you disclose, yes, there was a death on the property? 100%, yes. Yeah, you definitely disclose that the property did have a death. We did not disclose because it's not required to do so. But yeah, you're asking me a direct question, and I have to answer correctly. Yeah, there was a death, and that death happened of natural causes 4 years ago. Oh, okay. Then you're good. But it's the minute that you don't divulge that information and say, "No, there was no death," they move in. The neighbor says, "Hey, Mr. Anderson passed away of natural causes 3 years, or excuse me, 4 years ago. He passed away in the bathroom." Okay. Or he passed away in his sleep in the bedroom. And the homeowner now says, "Well, that was never disclosed." Oh yeah, that happened. That opens up a situation where now they can say fail to disclose. Well, wait a minute, fail to disclose. This happened way over 4 years, right? But because you said, or someone said on a direct question that there wasn't, then, if they can prove it, and they have to prove it because verbal is not proof, right? It has to be something on a text, something in an email or a voice message, then they got you. Okay. So be careful as well, because that can also happen, right? So, and again, you just got to be very diligent in your approach and how you approach every situation and circumstances as you navigate, right? Because it can definitely happen. So, again, just some of the cool things that you have here. And when you go back, I mean, there's so much. I can literally spend 10 hours with you guys. But I know this is grime material, and you don't want to spend 10 hours with me. Okay. So with that said, it is 11:31, and I want to respect each and every one of you. I do apologize that we were not able. I need to figure this out. But you can always reach out to any of us. We're here to support you, navigate this. But again, wanted to give you kind of an example of some of the things. Now, the other avenue that I like to do is I go to the YouTube channel of the California Association of Realtors, right? And on there's immense of different types of channel on navigating zip forms and all of the fun stuff. So please make a habit to consistently be in there playing with the system, so that way you get better informed, but also to be more efficient as well. Okay. With that, have a wonderful Friday, great weekend, and I will see you next week on the next contract class. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Simon. We'll see you at the
Thank you.
airport tomorrow.
Thank
Pardon me?
you.
We'll see you at the airport tomorrow for family reunion.
Yep. Yes. For a lot of us, we're going to family reunion, so we're going. Yeah, so thank you. Yes, I'll see you tomorrow. But
Thank
thanks,
you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Let's see. Current car president used to be with KW Bit Cities tomorrow. Yeah. Thank you, Robert. Yeah. That's so true. Laura says, on a note of require fridge stove in a rental, what about tenants that are no longer in a lease but have moved to month? It doesn't matter. So Laura, if you're still on the call, bye-bye. If you're still on the call, it doesn't matter if it's a lease or month to month. If they're a tenant in your residence or your client's residence, then it's a requirement that you must provide that. So hopefully that answers your question. All right, with that, that concludes today's class. And again, I do apologize for a little bit of hiccup, but that's just the nature of technology, right? I'm going to continue playing with this because I definitely need to utilize my zip forms. But if you have any questions, do not hesitate, reach out to me. Thanks, everyone.